Alright, hey. Hi. Hello. How are you? Welcome back to Magic. This is Felt. This is a weird intro, but we're rolling with it because I'm just excited. In case you don't know, a new format came to Arena. I should have probably just started on that page. But regardless, a new format came. We have Explorer. And for those of you who don't know, Explorer is more or less Pioneer. But the bottom line is that you have a lot more sets available to you. I believe most of these sets are available right there. Because we can even go heckin' Explorer. And look, the only thing that's really not included is this pile of historic anthologies, Amonkhet, Kaldesh, Jumpstarts, Mystical Archives, and Alchemy. But outside of that, you have access to like everything, which is very, very close to Pioneer, if I know my stuff. So this is what you all have access to in Explorer, meaning that you get to play a different metagame. And if you're like me and getting kind of tired of the absolutely insane value engines and board wipe tribals that you're running into in Standard, it can be a nice change of pace because it's just a different metagame. It's not quite historic, and it's not quite Standard. It's a fun like mesh meld of them. And what I'm using here is a super, super cheap low-to-the-floor Izzet Spell burn deck. That sounds weird, but it works very well. And I highly recommend crafting this deck. As you can see, it actually runs very few lands. I have actually shrunk down my land base because of how much you can draw in this deck by using considers as well as being able to use your light up the stages, which you can run multiple of if you want. But the crazy thing about this deck, and this exact card set, is that there are no rares. The only rares that I have are my Riverglide Lava Glides, which you don't need. You straight up don't need them. I just have them in there for mana fixing, because I like the option, and I already have them crafted. You don't need to craft them. The deck list that I based this off of actually was including Swiftwater Cliffs as your extras, which, I mean, to be fair, could be a potentially better card because it just gives you a bit of a life advantage on a format that is as fast as this format is. However, as you'll see, we're gonna be faster. So let's just do a quick rundown of the deck. The bottom line is that the deck is based around 2 or 3 very, very strong creatures. Sorry, 4. 4 very strong creatures. I'm not going to lie, I forget that Gitu Lava Runner exists because while he is very powerful, he is not typically a win con. He is more of just you're plinking for a little extra along the way card. The big 3, in my opinion, are the Sprite Dragon, the Heartfire Immolator, and the Delver of Secrets. Delver of Secrets pulls double duty. He is a wizard, which means that your Wizard's Lightning gets to be 2 cheaper, meaning you can play a 3-point burn spell for 1 red. Very nice. He does flip into a 3/2 flyer, which you can choose to not do if you would rather just play 3 Wizard Lightnings for 3 red and just hit your opponent for 9 to the face. But you can flip him to be a flying threat or flying chump blocker. Speaking of your other flyers, Sprite Dragon, probably the real champion of the deck, a card that is really cheap at 1 red, 1 blue. Scales super fast, being that every time you cast a spell, you get a +1/+1 counter on it. And just really goes into the burn aggro plane that you have set up. Because if you're playing Play with Fires, Spike Field Hazards, Lightning Strikes, or even the 1-cost Wizard Lightning, or the 1-cost Skewer the Critics if you've already done damage for the turn, every single one of those casts puts a +1 counter on Sprite Dragon. Your Sprite Dragon can be an 8/8 flyer by like turn 5 and be just an unstoppable force on the board. Which is why we run 4 copies of them. We want them really quick. Heartfire Immolator, sorry. Another human wizard, makes great use of Wizard's Lightning. It pumps itself without +1/+1 counters, but it pumps itself for every spell you cast. It gets +1/+1, and then you can sack it for a red to deal damage to a creature or planeswalker. So if the game's gone on a little long and your opponent has out a planeswalker that's kind of annoying you, as well as a creature that's kind of annoying you, you can burn down the planeswalker with burn spells and then sack the Heartfire Immolator to burn down the creature. Or if your opponent just is playing like a gate deck and they have I forgot the name of the creature. I've played against it 4 times today though, where it gains power and toughness based on the number of gates they have in play. Play a burn spell for 3, he becomes a 3. Play a burn spell that deals 3, sorry. Immolator becomes a 3/3, sack it, you've done 6 damage to a creature in 1 turn. And if it has 7, you can just play a Spikefield Hazard to end up exiling it. That also plays really well with your Considers, meaning that you can just use Considers on your blue mana to draw through your deck, apply counters to Heartfire and Spray Dragon, and then use whatever red mana you have left to either sack or play your burn spells. E2 Lava Runner just kind of doubles down. Cheap, 1 cost, wizard. Lets you play Wizard's Lightning. It gets +1/+0 when you have cards in your graveyard, which you will have a lot. And it gets haste, meaning that it can just get in and keep plinking every time you play one. Pretty powerful card. We only have a few sorceries in the deck. We have Skewer the Critics, which is just a nice 3 cost, 3 damage burn spell that can be played for 1 if you've dealt damage for the turn. Light Up the Stage and Expressive Iteration are our draw and hunt cards. Light Up the Stage allows you to have 2 cards exiled until the end of your next turn. So, you know, you can play it on your draw step or your end step, depending. Or, sorry, your second main phase or your first main phase. I slip of the tongue. It's a sorcery, not an instant. Regardless, you exile 2 cards, it can help you hit your land drops, it can help you find that last burn spell you need to destroy your opponent. Regardless, it's pretty good. Not as good as Expressive, but Expressive does require 1 red, 1 blue. It is a very good card, do not get me wrong, but if you don't have 1 red, 1 blue really early on, it can be a little problematic. The deck is very light on the lands. I've actually cut down the amount of lands I run in it personally because I kept flooding out, because all of your spells are so cheap, you can just play them so fast, you don't need a ton of lands. And if you hit your land drops for Expressive within the first few turns, you can hit the rest of your land drops, essentially. Crash Throughs here as just you can make your Lava Runner or your Emmulators just have trample and be annoying on the floor. It also gives you card draw, which can help you hit those land drops or get your burn spells. The real shining point of the deck, though, is the instant. It's plural, I suppose. We have so much burn, it's unreal. Which all double down as ways to pump a Heartfire Immolator or a Sprite Dragon. Play with Fire gives you Scry, allows you to hit those land drops or burn spells if you need them. Spikefield Hazard can exile threats or just be a plink 1 to the face. Lightning Strike, 3 damage, 2 cost, pretty powerful. Wizard's Lightning, 3 cost for 3 damage unless you control a wizard, which is why we run 3 wizards and 4 copies of all of them, which is why sometimes you might not want to flip Delver of Secrets if it's your only wizard. A 3/2 flyer is great, but a 1/1 on the ground that lets you play 3 Wizard's Lightning for 3 red and nothing else can also be incredibly powerful. You also have Consider in here. It's kind of a hunt for lands card as well as a put counters on your Sprite Dragon card. This is a very, very fast deck, and you don't really need many land drops to make it work. Obviously, if you get land drops and you get all the burn spells you need in the first couple of turns, you can wipe out your opponent by turn 4 or 5. The basic, optimal combo off order that I've found to be a very consistent way is if you have an island and a mountain in your starting hand, as well as a Delver of Secrets and a Sprite Dragon, and then just something else. It's Island, Delver of Secrets turn 1, Mountain, Sprite Dragon turn 2. If Delver of Secrets flips, that's great. If not, it's fine. You're plinking in for 2 on that turn. And the next turn, if you have a 3rd land, then you can start really comboing off. If you have any plays with fires, they can start plinking to the face, adding counters to your Sprite Dragon. In a super optimal situation in terms of our damage, assuming you have Delver flipped, Sprite Dragon up, 1 blue, 2 red, being super optimal on that turn, you can hit a Lightning Strike to the face for 3. You can hit a Plate to the fire to the face for another 2, meaning that they've now taken 5. Your Sprite Dragon will be a 3/3, making it an 8, and a 3/2 on Delver Secrets dealing 11 damage on turn 3, which in a format that is very fast, pressuring your opponent with 11 damage on turn 3 in an optimal situation can be really good, especially if you can just keep pumping that Sprite Dragon up, or having your Delver Secrets out just to be a 3/2 flyer that's causing annoyances. Really powerful deck, really low to the ground, really fast-paced, and it's all uncommons and commons. I'm sure there are better ways to optimize the deck if you have the wildcards to do it. This is just a really cheap, fun deck to get into Explorer with if you're an Izzet Spellslinger lover like myself. And that's the video. Kind of a weird one, kind of a short one, but I needed a break from Standard and Ranked because the meta is very rough right now if you're getting bad draws, and I've been supremely unlucky lately. And Explorer is just a nice breath of fresh air because it's historic, but not quite historic. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think it's quite enjoyable. I think it's something that a lot of people should try out. And if you want just like a cheap, easy deck to use, this one's great. All uncommons and commons. They were just fantastic stuff. These are optional. I will reiterate, the pathways are optional. You can use cliffs, which you probably have quite a few of from Kamigawa. You can use cliffs if you don't have the pathways. In fact, I might even recommend the cliffs over the pathways for a lot of people because it just gets your life total up a little higher than the start. Either way, thanks for watching here, Acting Cool. I hope to catch you in the next Magic video or the next whatever I'm doing video. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to catch you in the next one.